saying many of my ancestors have composed poetry in this mixed language, and somewhat precociously says, and I will do the same. And he was obviously referring to Amir Khusro. Amir Khusro's, the fact that he's buried in Nizamuddin, which was very, very important to the Mughals too. But to answer your question in brief, Khusro had a profound influence on everyone writing in the Mughal court. Would you like to add to that, Dr. Trushki?
Yeah, and I completely concur. The Mughals were highly interested in Amir Khusro, right? I mean, there are even moments when they sort of adopt some Persian works of his and sort of fill in some of the gaps that had arisen over the generations. I will say I remain a little bit less clear on Amir Khusro's Hindi poetry and what exactly that looked like. How far back some of that is sort of clearly datable in sort of a strict historical mindset does remain a little bit uncertain. Other questions? Right over here,
yes. You just talked about the power politics in Mughals court, and from different princes and rulers of different areas. So I just want to know if they had religion-based politics back then, like we have today, and also there was a famous work of Akbar, I believe, Deen-e-Ilahi. Akbar was such a powerful leader. So why the Deen-e-Ilahi never took off? Thank you.
Well, you see, from what I know, and there are different readings of this, and I would encourage you to develop your own reading. Deen-e-Ilahi was not meant to be a new religion. In fact, the term Deen-e-Ilahi was never used. The term often used is Sulh-e-Kul. But this was a cult around the emperor, and only his very close associates really subscribed to it or became murids of it. Abdur Rahim did not. Very interesting. He was brought up as a young boy in the court, owed everything he did to the emperor, but he never was a murid. As indeed Man Singh, again, owed everything to the emperor, but never became a murid, never became a formal follower of Sulh-e-Kul or Deen-e-Ilahi, as you term it. But how important was religion for the Mughals as they contemplated or embarked upon military or political moves? I think they were very practical people. I don't think religion in that sense entered their calculations as much as we would like to think today. They may use it as a cover, or they may use it as an envelope to justify one or the other of their actions. But really, the core of their policies was driven by very, very secular ideas of how to expand the empire, how to maximize your revenues, how to get most plunder out of one particular expedition, and so on. In that sense, religion did not really enter into their calculations. This does change, in my view, and this is controversial. This does change with Aurangzeb's reign. But there also, I think it was not so much his policies which were religiously defined or religiously oriented, but the cover he gave to them. That was much more pronounced. It was a much more pronounced Islamic envelope than his predecessor emperors had wanted to use.
All right, so we have time for 2 more questions. I suggest that we take them together, and then you can answer both. So first over here, and then we'll go over here.
If we are to see, Rahim Khan in a Mughal court which was